Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's room of choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Santiago Halty, welcome to Sports Management Podcast.
Marcos, such a pleasure being here. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you on the show. So you are the founder and CEO of Senda Athletics, where you combined elite performance with ethical manufacturing. So can you tell us a little bit about your company and the vision behind it?
Absolutely, Marcus. So I started Senda 16 years ago, and the vision initially was to bring fair trade certified footballs to the market, right? I was fascinated by this idea that you could make such a beautiful product as a football in an ethical way, making sure that the people behind it were getting a fair wage, ensuring they had good working conditions, and paying an extra fee, which is a fair trade premium that goes to a community fund that then the workers themselves decide how to use it. So that was the vision of the company 16 years ago. Had just graduated from college and was living in France at the moment. Moved back to the United States, to the San Francisco Bay Area, and started working on Senda with this goal of let's bring a beautiful product for the beautiful game in a way that's ethically made. And that's how we got started, Marcus.
That's amazing. Yeah, you mentioned some things there, but what is it that makes it fair trade? It's the workers that they have good conditions, and what are the things needs to be behind in order to be fair trade?
Yeah, basically, to be fair trade, you have to work with a third-party nonprofit organization that does the auditing and that creates the standards by which you have to obey. So we work with an organization called Fair Trade USA here in North America. They work with a group of select factories that have gone through that because that's a choice that also the factory needs to make, that they want to abide that. So that's the process, working closely with them. We're working with them for 16 years now.
Amazing. So was there a gap in the market that you saw in order to combine the elite performance with fair trade manufacturing?
That's exactly right. For me, when I was playing the game, sometimes before starting the company, wondering, how was this ball made? Am I supporting something that I believe in or am I not? So to me, that started going on my mind, being like, I would still be able to buy a product that I can feel 100% good about. And because it was not there, I created it. And you're exactly right also that it had to be performance. I didn't want just to be like a feel-good product that's a toy. To me, it had to have both the fair trade conditions, but then also the performance. And that's how Senda got started.
Awesome. So starting a soccer brand, football brand with these giant branders already in the market and then also going through to making it fair trade, there's a lot of competition out there. How did you manage to break through all of this and be successful?
The main tool that we use is to be very close to the consumer, be very close to the athletes, and pick a niche. So those, I would say, would be the three main resources or the three main tools, the three main areas of focus. Let's put the consumer, let's put the athlete at the center of all that we do and pick a niche. And that niche was futsal. That was the market that was not very well served by the big brands, but it was very close to me. I was born in the States, but I was raised in Buenos Aires in Argentina, and we play a ton of futsal. And I was surprised how hard it was to find a futsal ball in the United States. And then I went back to the consumer and went to a lot of futsal tournaments. Yeah, it's hard to find a good futsal ball. And I went to the athlete, and what do you look for in the ball? From a bounce, from a construction, from a texture. And we started with soccer balls or footballs in the beginning. I'm in the States, right? So you'll have to pardon me if I use the word soccer a couple of times throughout our conversation. And we went very close. We started with footballs at first, and then we find the futsal community that helped us to bring a futsal ball to market. And now we're one of the leaders in the sport of futsal. We have grown not just from balls, but also footwear. But it's always being very close to the consumer and to the athlete.
So putting the athlete first and then seeing what they need and then growing from there.
Exactly. That's exactly right. The athlete and the consumer, right? It's a balance between the two. The consumer is the one that gives you the insight for making the products. And obviously for them, they need nothing but the best, right? But the consumer, then you have to be able to inspire them through your athlete, but then make a product for them that can serve their need, because sometimes they're not exactly the same, the need of the athlete and the need of the consumer. And obviously then you have a lot of different type of consumers with different budgets, needs, etc.
Of course. I know you have some products with you there. If we can go through a little bit of the assortment, then for those who listen, we will do our best to explain it. And then for those of you who are viewing, they can see, obviously. But you're holding up a football there.
Yeah, so this was the first product. This is the foundation of the company. We started making a football. We're very excited that just in time for the World Cup, and it's all coming together in a beautiful time. We're now in the middle of the World Cup. We're launching a FIFA-Quality Pro ball. This means that it's a ball that can be used for the highest level of competition, has the same technology as the biggest brands and the biggest competitions in the world. So this ball could be used for international matches, professional leagues, and everything. That's very important for us, that we brought the highest technology along with fair trade. And the ball will always be special for me because that's how I got started. And you never forget where it all started. After that, we went into shoes. We have futsal shoes that we started with, and those have been in the last 3 FIFA World Cups. There's the FIFA World Cups for futsal. We've been in 2 men's World Cups with the shoes, and then we were in the inaugural women's FIFA Futsal World Cup. And in the men's World Cup, we were among the top 5 most worn shoes at the tournament. And in the women's, we were top 3. So you were talking how hard it is to compete with giants, but when we chose a niche, be close to the athlete, we were able to be there. And now here we are at the world's biggest stage, which is the FIFA World Cup for football. And we were able to apply everything that we learned from the Futsal World Cups to the Football World Cups. And we have 2 models. We have the Mendoza, that we should talk later about who's wearing it now at the World Cup, that has become an overnight sensation. An overnight after 15 years. I joke with him, he's the goalkeeper of Cabo Verde, or also known as Vózinha, that we're both becoming 15 years overnight successes. But he's wearing this boot over here that's called the Mendoza. Senda really celebrates the essence of Latin American football, what it means to play in the continent that has a very special way of feeling, playing, and loving the game. And then we have 2 models that we did, again, talking a lot with the athletes. One is the speed boot, which is the Rosario, which is a city in Argentina. And the other one is the Mendoza, which is another city as well. 2 different needs for the consumers. And then really what allowed us to be in the World Cup is this product, which is our Senda Gravity Grip Socks. This is a product that more and more players, and not just in football, but other sports, are wearing, which is a sock that has the silicone pads on the bottom that prevent slippage, allowing them to accelerate faster and allowing them also to avoid blisters and all kinds of injuries. So with this product, we were able to have over 250 athletes represent the brand all over the world. And then they were the ones that told us, I think you have a great opportunity to make a football boot. And here we are, Marcus, in the World Cup, the world's biggest stage.
That's amazing. And we will talk about Vózinha a little bit later. But just going through like the football, the first product, and now you said it's FIFA certified, but in their different international tournaments, so who decides which football to be used, and how can you get your football into a World Cup game, for example?
No, for the World Cup, it's impossible, right? Because that's just agreements that are made that are multi-year agreements. Each competition decides, right? It could be a federation, it could be a league. And for example, we had the amazing opportunity to be the official ball of a women's football tournament called the Women's Cup.
Yeah, I know about it.
Perfect. So we were the official ball of the Women's Cup for the last 2 years. So we had teams like Juventus, Atletico de Madrid, Palmeiras, San Pablo. We're talking about some of the biggest clubs in the world wearing. We made a partnership with the Women's Cup. We showed them the product, we showed them the vision, we negotiated, and here we are having some of the biggest clubs in the world wearing our products. It was an unreal feeling. When, as a football fan, I remember watching Juventus in the 90s when they were in their peak, one of their peaks. It was such a beautiful memory, and to see them playing in a professional stadium with our ball, it was unreal, Marcus.
I can understand that. And I've had the founder of the Women's Cup here also discussed it a little bit. And nice to see the connection there as well.
Amazing. They have an incredible tournament, an incredible cup. And we're just so proud to have been working with them. And the goal is to continue working with them. They're doing some really innovative stuff in Italy where they're having fashion and luxury and football. And I'm excited to keep working with them and having Senda be at the center of women's football as well next year. with the Women's World Cup as well. But so many things going on. It only took us 16 years to get here, Marcus. And now it's like, how do you capitalize on everything that has come together?
Yeah. And 15-year overnight success, as you said.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then you mentioned the boots, and you're having them in the World Cup right now. We'll talk about that. Except for the fair trade aspect, what's different with this shoe versus like another shoe?
Yeah, so we were talking a little bit about the socks, right? As a start product has this gravity grip. But so in the radio model, which is our speed boot, we applied all the lessons, again, from the athletes about the importance of grip. And it has the gravity grip on the top of the boot, on the front. That's where we know that athletes are looking to be able to connect with the ball well when the pitch is wet, which is pretty much always because now that football is so fast and they're making the fields wet ahead of the game. So we added the gravity. That's our own technology, for example. And then we work closely with the players to develop it. You have here the way that the cushion comes all the way to the top of the heel. This was something that in some of the first prototypes, we didn't have it. The padding on the heel cup came a little bit lower, and the athlete asked us to do that. And actually, we have a documentary where we are showing the entire process of the internal meetings. It's available on YouTube if you go to Senda Athletics channel. And you can see our internal meetings with the product team. You can see us meeting with the athletes, and you can actually see the very moment where one of the athletes, which is Maxime Crepeau, goalkeeper for Canada, who's been having an amazing World Cup. They're doing history. They already qualified. They won their first match, just the last game. And Maxime Crepeau was the athlete that helped us to develop that. So I think what makes them unique is the ability that we have to talk to a lot of athletes that were underserved, elite athletes that the big brands were not paying attention to, because what you're saying is that more and more they're working with fewer athletes, but big athletes. And there's a lot of amazing athletes that their voices were not heard. And Vózinha is an example of that. And we are listening to that athletes. We're listening to the underdogs. We're not a brand of superstars. We're a brand of athletes that represent the values of persistence, hard work, never giving up, humility. We like to talk about our athletes being humble and hungry.
I like that. And maybe future superstars.
So yeah, with Vózinha, I keep bringing him up because I think that his story is just so amazing and so top of mind. He became a superstar with us with 16 years of hard work, but he had just that amazing game against Spain. And now you're right. You are absolutely right. We now have a superstar. It's hard to comprehend because this was not the plan, but we do have a superstar in Senda right now, and not just a superstar on the field, but we should talk about the values that he have off the pitch because he's one of the most amazing human beings that I met.
Yeah, no, definitely. So let's jump right into that. So Jess is the goalkeeper for Cape Verde, doing an amazing game and against Spain, as you just mentioned, and he's playing in your shoes. So you mentioned he has a great backstory, and also can you tell a little bit his story and how you guys got in contact and how your partnership has been like?
Yeah, of course. He's the example that it's never too late for you to achieve your dreams. For all the audience and the listeners that are wondering, is it too late? And I feel that today we live in a world where everything's quick. You can get food delivery in 20 minutes. You can watch a show. I think that people think if I'm not successful after just a few years, I'm doing something wrong. No, the reality is that it takes a long time. He became a professional goalkeeper at the age of 25. Think about that for a moment. That is crazy. And then he's been playing on and off in Portugal. He's been with the Cabo Verde. He's a legend in Cabo Verde in the federation. And he was somebody that at times he had to do other jobs besides being a goalkeeper, but somebody that always believed in his abilities and his country's abilities. And so to qualify for the World Cup, which was a huge upset, it's a country of 500,000 people. And what they're doing in the World Cup is even more shocking. Tying Spain, which is one of the big favorites to win it. Tying Uruguay yesterday, scoring 2 goals, coming back from being down 2-1. And now they have one more game in Saudi Arabia. I was go watch other games, and now I'm canceling everything. I'm getting on a plane because I got to spend some time with Vózinha. We have another one of their players, Kelvin, who's the defender, who's wearing our boots as well. I became close with the coach as well. I became close with the coach Bubista, because I think it's tactical genius, whatever he's doing, and also the way that he's putting the team together. We connected with Vózinha. He liked the boot right away. And what was special as well, and that talks about the pride that he has in his country, we shipped the boots for him to start wearing them in Portugal. He liked them. And then he took them to Cabo Verde to have an artist hand paint the boots that he's wearing at the World Cup right now.
That's amazing. That shows the pride he has in the product, right?
Not just in the product, but in his culture, right? That he believed in the product and he was like, okay, I'm going to play the World Cup in these boots, but I want to show where I come from. I want to have that on my feet. And then he had this amazing artist in Cabo Verde that has done murals and hand paint the two. I was joking with him the other day that I think that those boots will eventually end up in a museum. And I truly think so, because what he's doing with those boots, how he's inspiring the world in them, the fact that they're one-on-one. People ask me, can I get the Vózinha boot with the hand painted and everything? I can give you the boot is the Senda Mendoza firm ground, but that exact one right now is one of one. So that could be maybe an opportunity for us in the future to do that. But man, it couldn't have happened to a better person. And what a lesson of resilience for the world to see. It's incredible. And now I was talking to him the other day. You guys didn't come here just to tie. Like, if they can win the next game, they would go through in Cabo Verde's first ever World Cup to the next round.
Yeah. In that group also with Spain, and it's not an easy group.
Uruguay. No, it wasn't. Like, if you had asked the experts, how would they do? I don't think many of them would have told you that what's happening now would be the case.
I don't think so either. And he has also, like you said, he couldn't happen to a better person. It's been 15 years overnight success. And now with the social media landscape and everything we live in, he's now more than 15 million followers. He has passed Manuel Neuer, the German goalkeeper, and just everything that will come to that in terms of fame. So it's a big change for him, I guess, now after this World Cup.
It's going to be crazy that I don't know that many people like have that, right? Because normally you start and you gain follower and you gain fame, but like the fact that it's overnight. But his family is here. He's gonna have to rely on the people that were always with him and to keep him, connected with who he is. And there's just now gonna be so many people that are gonna come to him. For us, we were blessed and that we connected with him before he blew up, and that was the trust that you develop with your athlete. But now it's gonna be next level. We're taking it day by day. It's like yesterday, the match that he had with Uruguay, and then we'll have to look at how do we continue to support him and work together so that we can grow with them. But the way that our stories are intertwined is fascinating.
Definitely. And it's great to find someone who shares your values. Obviously, that's the partner you want to work with. But also the return on investment in terms of dollars when you have someone and you grow together and they explode afterwards. I mean, if you would have signed a top player from the beginning, it would have been much more expensive than getting the trust from someone early and making them your priority. And then when they get more famous, you already have that great partnership.
Exactly. And it's a relationship, and we're going through this together. Just like it was our first World Cup with the boots. Our grip socks have been in the last football World Cups for men and women, but the boot was the first time. So it's a lot of first for him and for us together, being at the World Cup for the first time, dealing with all this notoriety that we're getting, where the world is learning about Cabo Verde, about Vózinha, and about Senda. So it's great to be able to go through that together. Obviously, he's the star. He's the one that's leading this. And in a way, we're along with him to support him. And to your point, to see how we get the most return on investment. But we're looking at the long term. We're not looking at, like how do we make like a quick buck now. This is not something to be opportunistic. I think this is a story that's going to live for generations. And that's what we're focused on, not just a quick win right now.
I think that's great. And a lot of things happening for your company right now. I know that you secured some new investment also right ahead of the FIFA World Cup. So can you talk a little bit about the people that invested and like what is the plan now going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been working on fundraising because the company has been mostly bootstrapped for the last 16 years. We haven't gone and raised institutional investment. But coming into the World Cup, we knew that we couldn't come with quarter tank of gasoline for like such a long trip. So we raised some money, still minuscule compared to that. We raised $1.5 million. The run was led by Michelle Kang, who's a owner of women's clubs around the world, including NWSL, the professional league in the United States, and also another owner of an NWSL team, John Neese, who owns Racing Louisville, and Michelle owns the Washington Spirit. They led us. I'm going to rely a lot on them on advice and mentorship as we go to the next phase. And we still have a round open. We're going to look to raise another $2.5 million now to be able to capitalize everything that's going on and the World Cup next year. We're learning so much in this Men's World Cup that I think that when the Women's World Cup in 2027 in Brazil comes, I think we'll be able to apply a lot of the lessons, how we serve the athletes, and we'll be ready maybe for another viral moment as well, like we had here.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. So big plans ahead now for the next few years, I assume.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we're just getting started. It only took us 16 years to get here, but I do really feel that we're just getting started. We have an incredible team. We have an incredible vision. And now it's just the time to execute the plan that we have and be able to tell our story to the consumers, because we think that we have a value proposition that's unique with our values, to your point about giving back the neighborhood, like values, finding these kind of athletes. And you know what I was thinking about, Marcus? Like when you look at the World Cup, you've probably seen this, like 90% of players are wearing pink boots, right? It's
Yeah.
gotten so boring where you have two brands that are doing everything. They're like, oh, and it's like, I thought football was about expressing your personality, who you are, right? The example here in Vózinha, not only did he get boots from a smaller up and coming brand, but he had them hand painted. And then the contrast is 90% of players looking exactly the same. It's a cookie cut. I don't think that's good for the market. I don't think that's good for consumers, that only a handful of brands. I miss the 90s. In the 90s, you have a lot of Italian brands and even French brands and American brands. And the other thing that I think for us is exciting from Senda is that we're bringing the Latin point of view. Like we have some of the most exciting players around the world, but there's no brand that represent the Latin way of living, playing, and feeling the game. And that's the void in the market that Senda, which by the way, Senda means path in Spanish. The idea that football and fair trade can be the path to change people's lives. So I think we're going to bring some great innovations, some great stories, and we're going to inspire consumers that are maybe overlooked by some of the other brands. And we have some plans to tell some very different stories from what other brands are doing. And we think it's a voice that needs to be heard. And our goal is by the end of 2030, and I'm going to say it here so I can come back and, see if we achieve it or not, by the end of 2030, to be among the top 10 biggest football brands in the world.
That's a big, bold statement. I like that.
Right? It's like, well, you got to state it. If you have a goal, then we work with our team to make it a reality.
That's awesome. Let's chat on not only, but again, also in 2030. We'll see where we are at that point.
For sure. I would love to do that. There's going to be a World Cup in Portugal and in Spain and in Morocco. It's going to be very, very exciting.
Definitely. So, since I know you have connections to Argentina, thoughts on Messi scoring a hat trick, and like, can this guy ever get too old for football?
It looks like no, right? It looks like he's never too old. I think there was a lot of speculation or how he would be at this World Cup, not just because of his age, but also because he's been playing in Major League Soccer for the last several years, and he shows that he still has it. He can still dominate the game, and not only what he represents on the pitch from a technical or tactical point of view, but the way that he inspires the team, it's unbelievable. So there's no words to describe him. I know I don't have any. And it's just to enjoy, right? It looks like it is his last World Cup, maybe 2030. He said the last one would be the last World Cup, but I do think this is the last World Cup that we have him. So we're privileged to be able to watch him. And I think he's also like somebody to inspire a lot of people, because he also had to overcome a lot of challenges, go through hormone treatment. He was told he was too small, that he was not going to grow, and look at what he did. So I think he's also a great story for the world to inspire, and obviously one of the most known athletes and human beings alive.
Definitely, 100%. So if the listeners and viewers want to, get to know Senda more, check out the products, how can they do that?
Yeah, they can go to our website, sendaathletics.com. We're also on Amazon. We are on ProDirect. I know a lot of consumers in Europe are in ProDirect. And then also soccer.com, which is the biggest retailer in North America. So that was our goal, is to have a product that's ethically made, but is readily available for consumers to find, wherever they are. And watch out for us, because we would like to come to Europe, open an office there, and expand. We have some distribution in Europe right now, but hopefully in a couple of years, before the 2030 World Cup, we do a story with you, an update, and we have at that point an office in Europe.
That sounds amazing. So I can't wait to follow the Senda journey here going forward, the path of Senda.
There we go, Marcus. Thanks for having me on the show. Such a pleasure.
Thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. Thank you for listening to the Sports Management Podcast. Please hit the follow or subscribe button on your podcast app so you don't miss out on any upcoming episodes. If you want to get in contact with me, send an email to sportsmpodcast@gmail.com, connect with me on LinkedIn, or follow the podcast on Instagram, X, and Facebook @SportsM Podcast.